I mean, it goes back to our core tenet of you are the asset, right? Like we talk about finances and we talk about all these other variety of things in here, but like at the end of the day, if your clock runs out, the story's over, right? I mean, like we're trying to be the star of our own stories. And it would be beneficial if those stories lasted as long as they possibly could.
How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in place? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. I am joined by Sean Ryder today. How are you, my man?
I am good. We are recording on the last day of the year, so I'm ready to get started. We've talked enough about 2024. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and nothing's going to really change in the first 24 hours. The only difference is we are starting, I think, a 72-hour fast for some of the gentlemen in the inner circle. So I'm hopping on that train tonight after I eat dinner. It's going to be a slightly early dinner because we have church at 5:30. So I have a lot of ground beef that I'm going to be cooking and shoving down my trap to fill up.
There you go. There you go. Heavy fat, heavy protein on that final meal.
Yeah,
Low carb.
I want to try. So it's been a while. I only did 172-hour fast last year, 2024. This year, I guess, still, but it was April. And then I told you on another episode, I fell off the fasting bandwagon because my plan was to do 124 every month, and then every other quarter hit a 48 or a 72. But once I hit that 72, I didn't fast for like 5 months. So I think I hit 224s. I think I hit 224s in the past 2 months. So hopefully I'm prepared for the 72. But what are you doing?
Well, selfishly, I appreciate you running that fast and facilitating the guys. I'll be in tomorrow night. So I'm going to hit it on the actual first. And I'm coming in for like 36, 48 hours. And so I'll be there for the last 2 days for moral support.
Yeah.
And participating. So
don't tell me that, because I thought my in-laws were coming over tonight for dinner and then I was going to fast after that. But my wife told me that it's lunch tomorrow. So now I'm afraid because I'm going to the in-laws house and I know that she's going to want me to eat her food. And if I say no, that's a problem. So I don't, eat hours and fast and then have the wrath of my mother-in-law. But I think I'm just going to plow through. It's part of the mental challenge.
that's true. That is true. I think it's cool to do it however you want to do it. But like, I do think you need to set parameters. You can't go in like loose and gray because then you'll just like bow out at the first sign of like, oh, we've got X, Y, and Z to do it. Because part of it is like doing the uncomfortable thing. Because like you wouldn't skip meals in general. You wouldn't skip outings. And so when Justin suggested it, I was like, I don't know, but I already had shit going on, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad he brought it up because I'm like, everybody should do one at the beginning of the year, no matter what. Like whatever fits into your schedule, get it in, and do 36, 48, 72, 96, something, get it in.
96. Might as well just fast for a month. Let it go. That's actually, I did want to bring it up for the start of the year today. Is like, why is that enticing to the men in the group? Why would we start the year off with a fast? Because I was walking my dogs, like trying to get my mindset right for it. Because I know for me, it's that 36 to 48 hours. My body's usually feeling pretty good at 36 to 48 hours, besides like a really dry mouth. But it's going to bed the second night is the toughest for me. Going to bed without eating on the second. The first night's easy because I just had dinner like 6 hours prior. But why is it enticing for, like, again, Justin, the guy that brought it up yesterday, to feel comfortable going in the group and be like, who wants to do a 72-hour fast? And you have these guys raising their hands. Like, Why is that enticing to us? Why are we comfortable? And I wasn't, right? I was totally against fasting like a year and a half ago. It took me a year of building up from like 8 hours to 12 to 16 to 24. But why is fasting something that we sprinkle throughout the year? We're not like telling people to do them back to back or be crazy with it, but we do sprinkle them in throughout the year.
Well, I mean, ultimately for me, it comes down to like health and longevity. I mean, it goes back to our core tenet of you are the asset, right? Like, I mean, we talk about finances and we talk about all these other variety of things in here, but like at the end of the day, I mean, if you end up, if your clock runs out, the story's over, right? I mean, like we're trying to be the star of our own stories, and it would be beneficial if those stories lasted as long as they possibly could. Um, and there's tons of supporting evidence that short term fasting it eliminates. You go into a state of autophagy, and I don't need to go all sciencey on it. Listen to Huberman or fucking smarter people than me about it. But like, there's a lot of data out there that like doing it periodically throughout the year shrinks tumors, shrinks cancerous cells, and kills them off and starves them out essentially. And my logical brain says if you do that periodically throughout the year, you're going to stave off any long-term growth, or potentially stave off long-term growth. And for us, I mean, when we're trying to optimize what we're doing and we're making these micro changes in every area of life, why wouldn't you take 2 or 3 days and fast when there's no known negatives to it? And, for me, like, that's why I'm pretty strict right now on the fact that I won't exceed 48 hours anymore. And that's because I did longer ones. I've done 5 days and longer, in the past. And for me at my age, like, muscle mass is the key. 'Cause I don't do TRT, I don't do any of that other shit, and, but if I lose a pound of lean muscle mass throughout, so there's varying degrees of arguments on it, right? Like, there's a school of thought that you come out with elevated HG1 and, elevated growth hormone. So the idea is you go in the gym and you pack back on these pounds of lean muscle. I just am not convinced of that at this point, and, and after you exceed like the 48-hour mark, like again, I'm no fucking expert on this, guys, but after you exceed the 48-hour mark, there is some, um, what's the word I'm looking for? You lose muscle mass. It's escaping me the term. Yes, yes, atrophy. You're
It won't atrophy.
yes, and so you're consuming your own muscle fibers at that point. And for me, if I lose, like, let's say, because you go into these things sometimes and you'll lose 10 pounds in 4 days, right? But a lot of it's water weight. You will burn fat because you're in a state of ketosis most of the time, where your body is fueling itself with your fat cells. But there is a point in time when it moves on to consume your muscle fibers as well. And so, like, longevity is based on how much muscle density you have on your body. And at my age, it's harder to gain a pound of muscle than it is to lose a pound of fat. So I just feel like, based on all the research I've done, the years I've been fasting, and my mindset is there's diminishing returns beyond 48 hours, because I get into that autophagy state about 13 to 18 hours into it. And so I'm shrinking those tumors. I'm killing off those dead cells, the cancerous cells, the negative cells in your body. And then I'm spending about another 24 hours in that state. And from the data that I have read, I mean, I would love if somebody sent me a DM and said, "You're fucking wrong. Here's some shit to read." But like, for me, that's what I'm looking for, is to go down that road, shrink those cells, not let them get so that they're growing on a regular basis, and then I'm not losing a significant amount of muscle mass either.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, I'm not a expert either, so I think my rough research, I didn't think autophagy really started until after 48 hours. So I know that you fall down rabbit holes way deeper than I do. So that would be exciting and news to me if autophagy starts that early. Is that age dependent or would everyone start that early? Because if I could get away with a 48 instead of 72, I mean, I could. That's definitely more exciting because I ultimately want it for autophagy. I have plenty of muscle mass. I mean, I'm not a bodybuilder. I can get away with one 72-hour fast in a year and I'll be fine. I take creatine. I don't take any TRT or any of that stuff, but I eat enough protein and I take creatine. So I'm, I'm not doing 72 every month, but uh, what I guess is that true? I know you said you want someone to send you a DM, but like autophagy starts that early.
I believe that I believe you start into ketosis at like the 12, 13, 14 hour mark, depending on what kind of shape you're in, physical shape. And then depending on what you do. If you go on walks, low intensity, like cardio stuff will speed up the process. Saunas, things like that. If you hit a sauna and you go on a long walk, the faster you do that, I mean, I've read stuff where they're like, take all your phone calls and stuff on walks while you're fasting because it will accelerate your path to ketosis, which then accelerates the process of autophagy. And I think autophagy, to be fair, starts around like the 24-hour mark. And so you're spending 12 to 24 hours in there if you're doing a 36 or 48 or
Right, here we go.
that.
Here we go. Let's leverage technology. So I pulled out my chat GPT and
Tell me what you got.
I have a conversation going with it that I just use for search because I'm uh one thing that I have fallen down is I read something this year that people should switch to chat GPT so Google stops getting ad dollars and then stops directing that money to direct our political influences. So I was like, fuck yeah. I still use Google, but I started using ChatGPT for my search. So I may be an idiot for doing that, but that's a fun thought, fun fact for me for the year. But I asked ChatGPT, what hour does autophagy start during a water fast? And it says autophagy, the process in which the body breaks down and recycles damaged cells, typically begins after 12 to 16 hours of fasting, depending on several factors such as your metabolic rate, prior diet, and activity levels. For most people, the process is thought to ramp up significantly after 24 to 48 hours of fasting. Autophagy reaches its peak at around 48 to 72 hours into a fast. However, the exact timing can vary from person to person with factors like age, diet, fitness level influencing when autophagy kicks in. To maximize autophagy, extended fasting beyond 16 hours is often suggested, though it's always important to consult a healthcare provider before engaging in prolonged fast. So again, I'll probably go deeper with ChatGPT after this episode, but you're saying if you're more fit, you get into autophagy faster, and if you sauna, then long, slow walks. Hell yeah.
Yeah, because that's what they're referring to when they say your metabolic rate. Like if you want to get super crazy about it, you can test your insulin levels and like prick your finger throughout because that'll tell you when you're into ketosis. And some people can do it between like the 9 to 12 hour mark. Like if you're fit and you're doing so you want to avoid high intensity stuff to take you there. It's steady state cardio type stuff and like maintaining almost like low end of zone 2. So like obviously conversational shit, but like moving your body and keeping that heart rate elevated, like 110, 120 area, something in there. And then a sauna just obviously is is something else to add on to that will kick it in very quickly. But yeah, the faster you can get in that state, the faster you could stop fasting or you can get more benefits out of it, right?
Well, I hate to admit this, but I think our listeners have to hear me say this. I think I've been convinced to not do the 72 and not start because listen, I'm not trying to bug out, but listen, we are big on lifestyle, right? So like
Yep.
I should go to my in-laws tomorrow and
You should eat your mother-in-law's food.
she's gonna spend 6 hours making food. She's gonna have fucking dessert there. Uh, I would prefer not to start a fast after a big sugary dessert, but I know she's gonna have protein. So, for my life, I'm gonna be taking my kids there. I want my kids to see me eat good food too. So, I think I'm gonna push it to tomorrow. do a 48. If I feel good, here's what I'm going to say. So I'll be a day behind the rest of the guys, just like you said. But if I feel good at 48, if I can go to bed that night, I will do the extra 10 hours of sleep, 8 hours of sleep. And I'm sure when I wake up that morning, if I have my black coffee, that'll be able to buy me a couple more hours. So, okay. So you guys listeners, I'm not backing out, but we are big proponents of like not the hustle, break yourself mindset. So this is me, Sean Ryder, making it open to the world that I have chosen to push and delay my fast. I am very fit. So I did not know that autophagy starts that early based on my fitness level. So that's exciting. And I'm right there with you. I would prefer to focus on autophagy with minimal muscle mass lost. So if anyone wants to send us data to sway us, I'd be more than willing to read it. But yeah, man. Okay, so that's really good information. So let's switch gears here and not talk about the health benefits. Maybe I'll lead the conversation here because this is really where I struggle with the fasting is why would high achieving men in our group be attracted to or should entertain fasting? For me, I didn't fully understand the health benefits. Um, and that's not why I wasn't fasting. Why I wasn't fasting was it was a huge mental hurdle for me to think that I could not eat, right? I started doing that when I was 30, it was about a year and a half when I started trying to take it more seriously. So for 34 years of my life, I can say I ate every single day. So my body never got a break, right? And so psychologically, I was like, I can't not eat for 24 hours. That's crazy. And there's two things. There's one thing that I absolutely love in this world more than anything, and one thing I hate. I hate the feeling of hunger. And I say that gently because I know that there's people in this world that are truly starving, but like I didn't like that feeling of my stomach feeling empty and growling. Two, I really like warm showers, hot showers. That doesn't fall into the place there, but like those are two things that I wasn't willing to give up. So I I I didn't like doing the cold shower at the end of a hot shower. And that's why I invested in a cold plunge because I'd rather enjoy my shower than like douse myself with cold forceful water. So there, I kept that. And then I started fasting because I always went back, especially when I coach people in fitness, like especially men, right? We have these egos and we don't really leave them at the door. We lift too much weight too often and we have shit form sometimes and we break. I always told men, I was like, when's the last time you took a rest day? Because I worked out basically 6 days a week for years without taking a rest week. And then I heard someone say, if you're so mentally tough, then you should take a week off and see how tough you are. Right. And that's the first time that I was sold on taking a rest week. Same thing with fasting. It was like, oh, if I think I'm a tough man and I want to be a tough dad and all this other bullshit, it's like I can't even not eat for 24 hours. So that's what sold me on like actually building my resilience and grit through the ability of just not shoving food into my mouth. So for me, as a pseudo quote high achiever guy that wants to promote a healthy lifestyle and being put in vulnerable positions and being able to handle it well, fasting was the thing that I was avoiding to kind of prove to myself that I can do something new in that area. And so for me, that's what attracted me to it, and it's what I'm not looking forward to, right? I'm not perfect with it. I'm not looking forward to that mental battle that I'm going to have to go through hour 30 when I have cotton mouth, no matter how much electrolytes I'm drinking, and like trying to make it one more day. So for me, for Jeff, what is it for you, or what is it when you see men come into the group? Like, why would a high achiever be attracted to it or want to test this?
It's just another aspect of awareness, and that's what I'm drilling constantly because, like, the more aware we can become in every aspect of our lives, the more whole, I guess, we can become. Like, if you don't understand chinks in your armor, like, you can't improve in like, you can't maybe take that next step to that next level, and, like, we're all conditioned to be creatures of habit, if you will. And like what you're talking about is like eating 3 meals a day is like not a normal thing. If you go back, whatever, 200 years, they probably didn't eat 3 meals a day every day. And so like how comfortable are we with our triggers? I say this all the time to like people that are super structured. You ever watch like super high achievers that are super structured and they like carry their food everywhere and they do shit on the fucking second time and like you watch them deviate from that or like go crazy and like fucking throw their plate at their goddamn admin assistant because they brought the wrong macros. And you're like, dude, you are so far off of what you think you are because you're so attached to that routine that you can't even control your emotional state when it's disrupted. And what you understand, like it being in the military, being in special operations and shit, I learned this. Like part of like your capabilities are like certainly being able to keep your cool when your routine is disrupted, right? Like, are you a fucking tyrant when you don't get your breakfast? Like, you need to kind of recognize that might be the chink in your armor if that's something that's going on. And most of us just don't notice stuff like that. Like being hangry is kind of fucking, I mean, while it's just human nature, like I get it, but like you also have to recognize like that's not a cool quality. Like I see people brag about that and joke about it like it's funny, and I'm like, it just means you can't control yourself when circumstances are not perfectly in alignment with what you want. Like if I haven't fed you lunch by noon, you have no reason to be a fucking psycho. Like that that says more about you than it does about me, right? Like you know what I mean? Like I mean, I just think I don't know that it's just another way to test yourself, right? And you get health benefits from it. So, I mean, and there's mental acuity to it. Anybody that's fasted in our entire group, there's a point in time when you get like this level of focus and sharpness from the like clearing of all the toxins in your body where you're like, holy shit, dude, I sat down at my computer for 3 straight hours and it just knocked out work and I didn't have any interruptions, no brain fog, no, like, needing to go take an afternoon nap, but, like, there's benefits to it, and, like, once you recognize again, awareness. So, like, you start feeling these things that are new, and you're like, "Whoa, like, how much is my afternoon carb snack fucking me up in the afternoon? Because I didn't have any of that when I wasn't doing that." So
All that you bring that up for kind of clarity as you're talking there, it's like I use the term high achiever, but now we have to put them in two different buckets. There's the we haven't ever talked about this, so it's in where my mind goes is like there's the high achiever that has control, flexibility, and the ultimate freedom that we discuss, and then there's the over committed psycho sticking to it, taking their Tupperware to grandma's house on Christmas Eve because they can't deviate. And are you really healthy if you're so sick that you can't have flexibility? I don't want to be that. And again, this is just me kind of spitballing based on what you said. I would rather be the former, which hopefully is why on this episode I've moved my fast from tonight to tomorrow so I can live my life with my family tomorrow and make my mother-in-law feel good. I can delay a fast by a day to make my mother-in-law feel good instead of being that dude going there. So I appreciate the comments and the reinforcement of, when we look at the 4S, family, fitness, finance, and freedom, I think just this example of fasting covers three of the four, right? For me, right? It's a health fitness benefit. I don't want to be an asshole around my family when I'm fasting. And then I have the freedom to change my mind to do what's best for me and those around me. So I appreciate that. Anyone listening to this, you're hearing this on the back end. So if this has motivated you to fast, there is a guy in the group that commented, said, hey, I've never done that before. I'd love to jump in. Jeff had a great comment. It was like, hey, just start and go for as long as you feel comfortable, whether that's 8 hours, 12 hours, 16 hours, 20, 24, 36, 48. You don't have to just grind through it and be miserable, especially going into the new year. If we motivated you to do it, start where you are, go for as long as you feel comfortable. Don't feel bad about breaking the fast and then try again in a few weeks if you want. If you need help, reach out. We do have a guy in the group that is pretty knowledgeable in fasting. Not only is he's pretty strict when it comes to his guardrails, his personal guardrails in which he's put in place. So, but he has a wealth of knowledge. If you guys have specific questions, we can definitely leverage his knowledge. Jeff, do you want to send the people out with any other details on the topic?
No, that's awesome. I mean, we're pursuing freedom, and if you're so rigid with your routine that it ruins you when you can't do that exact routine, then you're not very free either. So like that's probably a question you need to ask on that end, right? And so yeah, have a kick-ass year, guys, and we'll be fasting this week. So let us know if you liked this episode or you want more information. Go ahead and like and subscribe to us on YouTube. We have a Facebook group, the Tactical Empire Community on Facebook. You can DM Sean or I on Instagram. It's probably the best way to do it. And let us know if you have any questions. It's not always business and real estate and investing. Sometimes we're doing other shit, obviously. So talk to you guys soon. Have a kick-ass year.